all rise. We'll have the reading of the prayer, please.
Lord, by the strength of thy Holy Spirit, grant us a willingness to place service above personal gain and to respect our obligations of justice in our positions as members of the Council of the Town of Essex.
Welcome, everyone, and the viewing audience also. And I'll now declare the 6 o'clock meeting open. And we have one absentee at the moment. John Scott will be here in a second, I was going to mention. So, quicker than you thought, John. Where'd he go? Are there any conflicts of interest this evening? None? Okay, thank you. Looking for the adoption of the published agenda for Monday, October 7th. Councillor Vokes, Councillor Bowman. Any questions? All in favor of the motion? Motion carries. Looking for the adoption of the minutes of September the 16th, 2013 regular council meeting. Councillor Vokes, supported by Deputy Mayor Malash. Any questions? Councillor Bill Baker. Thank you, sir. Okay, there.
We had a council discussion under my name regarding the discussion about recording of bylaws and work in progress, and the action was that we were going to have senior manager, it would be on the senior management report. So that was just missed. So I'm just wondering if we could add that on the minutes.
Okay, thank you, sir. All in favor of the motion? Motion carries. Looking for adoption of the minutes for the September the 9th special council meeting. Moved by Councillor Vokes, supported by Councillor Bowman. Any questions? All in favor of the motion? Motion carries. Looking for adoption of the minutes for September 16th special council meeting. Deputy Mayor Malash. Councillor Bondi. Any questions? All in favor of the motion? Motion carries. And also looking for the adoption of the minutes for September the 30th Court of Revision held in Hero. Councillor Bondi moves, supported by Deputy Mayor Malash. Any questions? All in favor of the motion? Motion carries. Just before public presentations, I have an announcement to make that this goes to council and the press. The press have a notice over there that we will request, if you request an interview with any of the staff members, if you do it out in the lobby after, and then, staff will be able to put things away, and we won't interfere with your interview, okay? So thank you very much, and I've already forgot to turn my mic on once, so we'll remind each other to turn our mics on while we're talking so the people at home will be able to hear us. Okay, thanks. So the first public presentation we have this evening is the Essex Raven Football Club. We have dual coaches, Glenn Mills and Joe Benerick. Okay, welcome, gentlemen.
Sorry. We're approaching tonight to talk about a plan that we've kind of been moving along with. We've had extensive talks with the high school, with the Board of Education, with some of the superintendents, and that's putting field turf in at Essex High School. Last year we almost had we were almost forced to move out of Essex. We started in Essex. We want to keep our program in Essex. We presently have 200 kids that come to Essex 3 times a week to practice, and our game days on Saturday. So 4 times a week we have 200 families that come to Essex to practice and play football. It started here. I think it's a tremendous program for this community, and I really want to keep it here. We've grown so big to the point where we have to do something with the complex over there, the field as well as the bleachers. the field is taking a massive beating. We have 4 football teams right now that play there, range from 11, 12-year-olds, 13, 14-year-olds, 15, 16-year-olds, 17, 18, 19-year-old young men. We're looking at starting our 5th football team next summer, which is going to be 9 and 10-year-olds. And then we're going to actually allocate into the fall. So we'll run basically a year-round system where we will have 3 age groups in the fall that will run from September until November. And they'll be, again, probably 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14-year-old kids. So the field between high school soccer, our football program, Essex High School football program, is just taking a tremendous beating. And the cost that I think goes in to try and maintain it. And I think if we can get everybody on board, I think it'd be far, far beneficial not only to the football program, to Essex High School, to the town of Essex, and many users around the town of Essex. I think that would be able to benefit from a state-of-the-art facility. So we're looking at turf in the field. We're looking at potentially putting in 1,000-seat bleachers with a press box. If anybody's been down to the field lately, those bleachers are honest to God, a hazard. We had about 3,000 people, 3,000 to 4,000 people come through Essex for our championship Western Conference final games on August 10th, and it was I was worried actually as I was coaching, going, oh my God, these bleachers might actually collapse. And that's the honest to God truth. It's to that point, and it's something that I'm passionate about. Again, we've had extensive talks with Essex High School, the principal, members of the superintendent, the school board. We actually had a $500,000 grant about a year and a half ago through Trillium that we're going to be granted if we could get that project to happen. And unfortunately, the time frame, we could not get it to happen with the school board, and it fell through, and we lost out a $500,000 grant to turf that field, which would have paid for basically half of the field, or just over half of the field. And it's just, we're coming to you guys first because the school board has expressed interest that if we can get on board, the town of Essex can get on board, they would be on board as well to doing something, as a 3-way joint venture to try and get that project done. Joe is going to talk a little bit about the numbers and about some of the different options. There's several different options out there in order to be able to make it happen.
Thank you, Town Council. Some of the rough numbers that we have so far to actually put field turf or an artificial surface into that facility. The cost ranges from about $5 on the lower end to about $10 on the higher end per square foot. The infield of the track, where the field is roughly 100,000 square feet. It's probably less because I think it's a little bit smaller. So we're probably looking at about 900,000 square feet that would need to be converted into artificial turf. So again, that cost ranges from $5 to about $10 per square foot, depending on the grade of the artificial turf. And we look at installing new bleachers and a new grandstand in that area. Typically, those numbers range from about $200 per person for a grandstand. Again, on the lower end, $300 per on the higher end. So when we've looked at the numbers, I believe Glenn sent you guys the okay, there they are up there. The breakdown. So we did kind of a low, a medium, and a high end as far as a complex goes, and that's what those numbers reflect. Included into those numbers is just a miscellaneous fund. Everyone knows when you start digging, things come up, and it's kind of just a buffer zone that if one's on the lower end, one's on the higher end, there's some built-in funds that are allocated to any mishaps that go along the way.
For anyone, I sent a brief outline of what the Ravens are all about. We still do put a lot of kids, but we put probably 400 to 500 kids through university, playing university football. We have many guys in the pros. All of our games are broadcasted live on Coach Go Television 3 to 4 times a week. I just think it's a great opportunity to showcase Essex, to showcase Essex County, to showcase the athletes in Essex County, and to give them opportunities. Coach Go Cable is going to put microfiber in there, so we can even upgrade our Coach Go even a little bit more. They've already committed to that, and as long as we're staying there. And like I said, we really want to stay there. I think it's important. It started here. I really want to keep it here. I live in town. I've lived in town, since I was a young man, and I just want to continue to try and keep it here. That's it.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Are there any questions of our delegation? Deputy Mayor Melange?
Thank you, through your worship. So, the time frame on this, I don't know if you mentioned that or not, but
I actually didn't. With them building the new high school, like in 2 phases right now, I don't know, it would be kind of, honestly, ideal to get it done right away. It probably takes about, is it about an 8-week process, Joe?
It's about 8 to 12 weeks, depending on, to install the field itself. It can be done as quick as 1 week. The New England Patriots, they redid theirs in a week. It all depends on the surface condition of the field. It's got to be stripped. They go down about 12 inches, they strip it, level it off, and then they start building it up from there. So that whole process, again, is anywhere from weather dependent. So it can be done in a relatively short period of time, or made to fit into to what's available.
Well, one thing we're looking at too as well is if it happens, we're going to take the existing field that they're going to tear out of there, we're going to move it into the back area of Sun Parlor, tile and grade all that area, and turn those into probably 3 full-size football/soccer fields or anything back there that like, there's times that you're basically underwater over there. So we got to try and maintain that area as well, and I think it's a great viable option. There's a lot of space back there that can be utilized by a lot of different organizations.
Yes, sir. Supplementary?
so I'm still not quite getting the time frame. So you're saying immediately it would be best?
I guess it would have to depend on the funding from between yourselves, the school board, and ourselves, exactly where we would end up in that situation. I'd like to see it honestly for next season, but if we have to wait a year, then we wait a year. We've already waited 17. I'm getting a little bit impatient, not to be rude, but it's just something that I'm very, very passionate about, and that whatever we have to do, we're going to do. I think I've proven that with the kids that we put through university and our organization. We're going to do whatever we have to do to make this happen.
And the idea of making it obviously quicker is whenever we have a heavy rainfall, our practice facility there is, we love practicing, we love to play there, but to be able to practice, as Glenn mentioned, when it gets rained, we're underwater, and that practice field out and back becomes virtually unplayable at times. And at that point, we have to leave. We have to go. When we started this season, we practiced partially in our training camp at Tecumseh Vista. We've done it at Amherst, at their new facility there, and we have to at the University of Windsor. So we've had to move around because we are not able to practice on that bad field. So the sooner the better. And obviously, we need to. This all has to go through the three main components of this, would be in the town, us, and the school board. So once a consensus is made between timing between all three and the viability of the options, that's when we can look at the actual time frame.
Like we don't practice on the main field at all, just for the fact that we can't tear it up, right? I mean, if we practice every day, the field would be tore up, it'd be absolutely useless. So we do not practice there at all during the week, so we have to go out of town and do different things when it's just too wet.
Sir?
Thank you, Mr. Warden, again. So I take it this is just in the preliminary stage right now, because we've heard word that the Greater Essex County School Board hasn't, there's members or superintendents. The one that we have a letter from is the Superintendent of Business and Treasurer for the Greater Essex County District School Board that says she hasn't heard from this group. Now, I do know for a fact that the principal at Essex High School is aware of this, and I know one other superintendent that I just happen to know is interested in this.
We have had extensive talks. They recently all changed portfolios when the new Director of Education come in. We have had extensive talks with more than one superintendent in regards to this entire thing, with the principal of Essex High School, and we were instructed to come before the town of Essex and see if they would be interested in doing a three-way venture between us, the school board, and then bring it back to them, and then they will move forward on that. That is exact orders that, that they kind of informed us to go through things, so that they can find it in their budget as well, with the new school being built. They think they obviously can't make $800,000 happen, but they think they can make $300,000-$400,000 happen with the way the new school is being built and things like that. So that's exactly why we're here today, and that's, I don't know what lady, I've never met that lady that She's never been involved in any talks with us, but there has been, like I said, extensive talks with the superintendent that put Vista High School field in, and other superintendents, and the high school principal of Essex High School.
Okay, thank you.
We have Councillor Baker and then Councillor Vokes.
Thank you, through your worship, to Joe and Glenn. Thanks for coming out tonight, and there's no question that the amount of talent you've put through your organization is commendable. I mean, some of the names and where they've ended up is great, and that's all because of your efforts in terms of that organization. So this is obviously very early on in this whole proposal, and I think tonight you're looking at our temperature in terms of this. I guess from my point of view for moving forward, I would like to kind of understand a little better in terms of what your revenue model is. How do you get money in? Secondly, what kind of financial position are you in? And then we would obviously need to look at these cost estimates to a much tighter degree. What we're talking about right now is a very high level. Are you interested in some idea of moving forward? Sorry. Okay, thanks. So, in moving forward, I think what we need to see, from my point of view, is what does your revenue look like? I'm going to ask you that right now. How do you get your revenue in? I mean, if you're going to be holding up, if we're looking at this at, let's say it's $400,000, $300,000, that's a lot to go to our taxpayers. But I see the benefit of it, I'll tell you that right now. But I can only see the benefit of it if we know that there is some kind of financial model that's going to be coming in. We have to talk about how are you going to raise money for fundraising. We have to talk about, is there a percentage of gate that we could look at or we can all look at to return some of our money? I don't even know yet. What kind of revenues do you get in per game and through season? Maybe we can start with that.
I will speak about, we had the Western Conference Championship game here August 10th. Just our concession alone, we put $10,000 in the bank.
Yeah.
That's just one event.
Yeah.
We have over, and this is the type of, and again, I'm not going to get into exact details. We do a lot of different things. We have a booster club where we have a lot of guys in the pros that would donate money. Like I could approach 2 or 3 players and probably honestly come up with $300,000.
See, now that's the kind of thing I want to hear. That's the stuff that makes sense.
And I'm not counting anybody. I can't commit to that until I go back and see these people. But I can tell you this: we have approached people before when we talked about turning that Essex Arena into a different type of complex, and we had the money. A guy back us in the money in no time at all.
Yeah. So I guess what I'd like to mean, when we move forward on for further discussion, we need to probably have a lot of these details in terms of your financial model, how you get revenues in, what's your financial position actually, and what other ideas could we all collectively do in terms of fundraising for this opportunity.
If I was the least bit concerned about raising $350,000, I wouldn't come in front of you guys, point blank.
And that's not your concern, but our concern is about the taxpayers and saying, okay, we're going to go to you for $400,000.
I understand that.
We're going to go to you for $400,000. So, and what I guess I'm happy to hear, and we're going to be talking about later tonight, as you've already mentioned, that Cogeco said is going to bring some fiber here. We're trying to get that anyway, so that works out just perfectly if that's the case.
No cost to us?
No cost to
the town or no cost to Ravens. They're going to pay for everything themselves.
Wow, that's good to know.
To bring it to the field.
So I think moving forward, we would need to probably strike something that is a solid committee or somebody to work with you, with the school board and ourselves to come back to council that has some financial meat and potatoes so we can really deliberate it at that point in time. So I think that's where we need to go right now.
If I may, when researching these numbers and talking to people and different contractors that do this sort of thing, they're definitely willing to come down and do a full cost analysis of the facility and kind of move on forward there. Those numbers were given to us in ballpark figures, and understanding that this is a preliminary talks and that's something that we can go off of. But yes, we have people set up to come and do a full cost analysis of it.
Yeah, that'll help you some, because my next question is to administration. So probably to you, maybe to Russ, if we can answer this. So this particular property would be on school property, I guess, if we do this, or what's the combination, the location of this? Would this be on the school property?
Yes.
It would be. So under this process, who goes through the procurement process? Would it be the school board, and what kind of agreements do we have to have with the school board, much like we've had with our aquatic center?
Through your worship, this is the first that this has come to our attention. Certainly, we'd have to look at what type of an agreement, but similar to the aquatic center agreement, I would think the councillor is correct. But this certainly would be school property, and I think there is some precedent in terms of the town's investment into other properties. So that's something to be looked at.
Okay, good. So just in final, I see the value in this, as long as we can see the value in the paper. I mean, we need to know where we're going, so we can certainly justify this. So the numbers and working together with the partners would have to be certainly solid, and looking at return revenue opportunities and fundraising, how this is done, because we have to maybe justify that while it's good for us as a community, we believe that, we have to let the taxpayers know that we're looking at the best way we can to get partnerships for this, okay?
Thank you, sir. I have Councillor Vokes and Councillor Bowman.
Thank you, Your Worship. Coach Mills, if I could, is the turf going to go on the sidelines where you are?
The turf will go basically from the curb of the track.
I'm trying to be smart here, because I've never seen a guy pace so much during a football game as you. And I got some concerns of wearing it out and constantly having to replace that area with you warping back.
I'll move around.
I get dizzy watching you. Anyways, with that being said, you don't have a gate there, right? There's no gate, like as i.e. being a 73's game.
We charge, like fee to get in, you mean?
Yeah.
Yes, we do. We charge, yes.
And traditionally, what's your attendance on average?
We get no less than 1,000 people. We have 3 games a day. Well, actually, last year we had 4 games a day. And we probably get, I would say for the youngest guys, probably anywhere from 500 to 700 people. Wow. And it moves up from there. But the varsity game, there's never less than 1,000 people there. We've had up to 3,000 people at a football game there.
I know when it's broadcast on Coach Code, obviously there's a good attendance and fans, but it never pans the whole crowd at one given.
If you look at the pictures on the slideshow that I showed you, if you take a look at the pictures there, you can see there's probably about 2,000 people in the stands along the fence area and everything. It's actually, if you talk to the teams in our league, they love coming down here. We got the greatest fans ever. It's craziness. It's absolute craziness.
As it relates to the school board being on board, it's obviously really early in the proceedings. I don't, respectfully, they may not have heard. I'm sure there's been some dialogue, but when the time is right, and as you know, we're in the process of bringing on a new Parks and Rec director, so working through him with the school board, with our administration, there could be some dialogue start at that end. But I think what council has to do, and what the town as a corporation has to do, is we have to focus on the fact that it's my belief that the turf opportunities will be exercised much more than just with that of a football game.
Oh, absolutely. You can use it for lacrosse, soccer, any type of Special Olympics event, anything. It will be a state-of-the-art facility that will be used in many, many different capacities.
So if I was to look at 1.2 million, respectfully, if there were 6 venues playing there, whatever that may be, it's really contributing minimal each, 200,000 each, right?
If there was that many people that were interested in getting involved, sure.
So my point is, we got to build on the fact that, and I don't want the message really to go out there that it's isolated just to the Essex Ravens.
Oh, absolutely not.
We need as a council, it's kind of the same thing I was doing, wasn't it? So we need as a council to exercise wherever the opportunities are to alleviate those costs. So if there's something that our Parks and Rec director can maybe stimulate and get going, it might be a good time to
the nice thing, the lights are already there. Some of the work is already done. So, that can be used basically from sun up to 11 o'clock at night on again, multiple different situations.
Here's in just in closing, Glenn, real quickly. When I discovered that Coach Glenn Mills and the Ravens were leaving, it was a little disheartening. And then I judged myself. I know you had come to us on several different occasions asking for different real estate. And the council of the day was, I'm not going to say reluctant, but had a hard time finding those particular opportunities for you. So here you are before us again, asking again. I wouldn't want to see you go again. And I don't think the turf would make you leave. But
and again, the unfortunate part, honestly, Randy, we are so big now that we have to do something.
Yes.
And I'll be honest, we've been approached by the Catholic School Board to do something there. We've been approached to do something at Vista. I don't want to go to Vista. I don't want to go to a Catholic school board. We're the Essex Ravens.
Right.
I want to stay the Essex Ravens.
So at the end of the day, if it makes financial sense, we have to sit and talk to you and discuss that, what makes sense. If it doesn't make sense and there's no financial opportunity, I don't believe we can just say, Glenn, there's no financial opportunity for you in the Ravens.
Absolutely.
We need an explanation and a breakdown of why we can't do it.
Absolutely.
And we'll get, I would assume we would get that for you in the event we can't make it happen. You need to know why, just not, it can't happen.
Thank you.
Okay. Councilor Bowman and Councilor Bondi, but first of all, let's come through the chair, okay? This isn't a conversation between me and the guy in the back row there. This is a council meeting, and we will come through the chair, and we'll have no more of this back and forth between council members. Respect each other. We have respect for each other. So when I'm talking, I expect everyone to listen. And when you're talking, I expect I'm going to listen to you also. And I'm not talking about me. We know who we're talking about. So let's do it properly, okay? Councilor Bowman.
Thank you, through you, sir. I too have enjoyed the Ravens over the last few years, and I appreciate their efforts. When I looked at the proposal, it has nothing to do with the track at all, does it?
No, they're actually, I believe they're resurfacing the track in the very near future. They're going to pull that track up, put a brand new one down, and then patch up whatever has to be done there. There's a brand new track going in that's already paid for and taken care of, I guess.
Yeah, and I think that was the first time we had a sort of agreement between the school board and the municipality was on the original track that went in. I think we were a pretty small player in that one. The second one obviously is the pool and the aquatic center and all that, so, and we're a major player in that one. So, you know, I think the groundman's been struck with working with the school board on various projects. I would think when you have a community-based organization, a school board, and a municipality, I would think it would be very ripe for funding coming from the province in various grants and that type of thing. So I think that's the first thing we have to explore, to see what monies are coming forward or what's available to us. And I think those are the type of things that need to be done first and move forward, because I'm sure not only the school boards but ourselves and maybe even the Ravens through various funding formulas may qualify for some things. So I would think at this point we should be referring it to our administration to look at all aspects of this and how it fits into our plans and how we can work with the other two groups to see what we can put together and make it a project that we can all be proud of. And the bottom line is you can't throw huge amounts of money on the taxpayer burden, so it's got to be something that works for everybody. So hopefully we can come up with something that'll work, and I won't make a motion yet because there's some more speakers, but so I'll wait.
Thanks, sir. Councilor Bondi.
Thank you, through you, your chair. Your passion speaks loud and clear. It's great to see you, and our council has been, advocating for user groups to come to us and to spearhead projects, like at a dog park, for example. We've always thrown the onus back on the service groups or the sports groups and said, you do some fundraising and we'll meet you halfway. So that being said, I approve it in principle. I'd like to see all the nuts and bolts, be worked out a little bit more in a little bit of a finer detail with the school board, and we do have a new director who is well-liked and ambitious, and I'm glad to have him back shortly. I just I have a question through you, your worship, to administration, to Donna. If we were to move ahead with this and be ready for the spring session, is there a way we could fund this? Is this a project we could debenture, or is this something that would have to be funded in 1 year?
To you, your worship. I think I'd have to research that because it's not our own property that we're putting money into, so I'd have to see what the rules were related to Infrastructure Ontario before I could answer that.
Okay. So I know that a couple of council members here are working on a motion, and I'll wait for that motion and support it. Thank you.
Anyone further? Councillor Scott? Nope. You're good? Okay. I just have a couple comments myself. To Glenn and your staff, present, past, the youth in not only Essex County, but Chatham-Kent, they come from all over to play with you guys.
All over. They drive 2 hours one way.
I know, and they're so fortunate that we have people like yourselves who put these hours in that you do put in. Like, I can't say enough good about you people doing this, because other than the fact that I know you make millions like they do in the pros, so,
I wish.
you know, yeah, there's only one thing I would ask you to do if this happens, and that's to put the stands on the other side, the sun side, so when I go down there, you know, you know what I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking
You
about.
know, and it's got to be tough on you guys.
It is. It is.
So, but that's the only thing I think you need to do differently down there when it goes through, okay? Okay. One other thing, though, while we're on the subject of football, we have that property down in front of the memorial, and I wanted to talk to you about this many times. We have a contract with you, I believe, and we lease it to you for whatever.
Yes.
We got to talk about maybe getting that back from you if you're not using it or something, okay? So I'll see you after.
Yep.
Okay, thanks. For a motion from anyone. Councilor Bowman?
I'd move that we accept their report at this time and refer it to administration to further peruse the avenues that we have before us for funding and for partnerships and whatever else would go with that. So I would leave it basically up to administration to do all the nuts and bolts, because it comes down to finances, so that's how we arrange it to make it work.
Supported by Councilor Scott. Any questions to the motion? Seeing none, hearing none, all in favor? Motion carries. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank
Keep
you.
up the good work.